It's important to be authentic with your marketing. And today I thought I'd take some of my own medicine and instead share something a little more personal about our journey and my journey through entrepreneurship. I want you to believe that anything's possible if you want it bad enough and if you work hard enough with good intent. I've been a marketer for over 19 years. In fact, I've been using digital since the days we all had to log in through AOL. I had a MySpace account. I dove headfirst in the LinkedIn beta. I was fortunate that a tech company moved to my hometown of Florence, Kentucky, and hired me for national marketing when I was just 22 years old. If you're interested, that company was Datalogic. They are an Italian manufacturer of barcode scanners. From that point, it kind of jump-started my career. I took a job at Matthews International in Pittsburgh, where I worked for 10 awesome years. I have had budgets of $100 to market with and over $2 million, and I can only dream today of having $2 million to work with for more than SEO.
Not gonna
The
happen.
education I got back then was immense. So the story I want to share with you right now is a story of diving headfirst over more than one cliff to land on my feet and hit the ground running with the launch of our own business more than SEO. I want to share this so that you know whatever obstacles you face, there's always a game plan to push through it. There was always an entrepreneur inside me. I was just too afraid to take that chance and jump off that cliff. That was the case until my life suddenly changed due to unexpected circumstances that took me down a different path. It started with the birth of my son Wyatt. He was very sick, baby. The doctors couldn't figure it out. He was really bad. We were in and out of Valley Children's. We'd seen nearly 30 doctors by the time he was 2. He had severe food allergies, chemical allergies, you name it. He got hives. He had intestinal bleeding. His allergy test was so severe that the doctors ruled it inconclusive due to hypersensitive skin. He had chronic ear infections, tonsils, I can go on. And at one point we almost lost him. After that hospital stay, he was never really the same. We lost eye contact, we lost language and interest. He lost words. He forgot how to stand from sitting. He had staring spells and he rarely slept. Soon after, he was diagnosed with autism. And it was like waking up on Neptune. I want to share that when you go, I don't know if anybody's gone through this journey, but when you go to get an evaluation for any suspected special needs, most often the doctors that do these evaluations, they don't leave you with a lot of hope. They pretty much told us that he'll never tell us he loves us. He may never talk to us. He may not have emotions. He'll be fully dependent on us for the rest of his life. They break your heart. And I was heartbroken. I wasn't sure what to do. But we pushed on like we do. And we found really great therapists and teachers, many that had lots of hope to spare, that lifted us up, special people that became extended parts of our family over the years. We found awesome doctors that were not afraid to look at things differently and help us try to solve some of the mysteries with his help. Many of these doctors were out of pocket. A calendar that was once busy with corporate marketing, travel, now became full of 40 to 60 hours a week of early intervention and therapies and doctor's visits. There wasn't really much room to return to my career, and our mission really became helping our son to regain his communication and his health. That window before 5 years old is really precious, and we were all in to help Wyatt as much as we could in that time. Chris, my husband and partner, and I worked as a team, and we traded off when we needed some respite. And through all this, there were times when I asked, why Wyatt, why us? And why the heck didn't I study psychology instead of marketing and advertising science? I felt that my background was useless in this scenario. I navigate this Neptune world of autism and sensory dysfunction, communication delays, and severe food allergies. Wyatt was still not talking in full sentences by the time he was 3 and 4 years old. But we learned to figure things out in ways that he could understand. We used picture icons to communicate, some sign language. Later, we learned he could actually read written words at 3 years old. So we carried a whiteboard around. We wrote on a whiteboard or a notepad. We discovered that stories could explain social scenarios to him and behaviors. So I started making stories for my son, starring him. I was the crazy lady that would go to the doctor's office to take pictures before a procedure, or to go to the hospital and take pictures and do a virtual tour on his iPad before we had to go do a surgery. We went into his IEP meetings, his education meetings at school, with our own agenda and our own presentations to make sure that the teachers and the staff understood what we felt his needs required. One day in the midst of all this, I realized that the background that I felt was so useless was exactly the perfect combination that he needed to communicate and grow. Because I had the advertising and graphic design background, I was able to design visual communication tools for him that connected. And so we continued with that. And as we went along, we started carving out more time to do freelance work. Went through another hardship where Chris was laid off from work, from our big corporate job. And so we had to make adjustments. And I started doing writing and freelance marketing work and consulting. And in between moments, there's times, before anybody is awake or late at night, sitting at the therapist's office with my laptop and earphones. And we just kind of kept going this way. I had to learn to reprogram my brain because I was spoiled. I was used to having a private office and an assistant and staff. And now, I had a 2 or 3 year old running around. There was no wonderful office to go to. I just had to learn how to work in the midst of distractions. Within 3 years of that kind of in-between, carving time out, Chris and I managed to start working with a very successful SEO firm. I wrote a few children's books published on Amazon for children with autism, social stories for them, and somehow we managed to juggle our family's needs also. Between the two of us, we managed to carve out the time we needed to continue growing and build on those dreams that we had. They weren't gone, they were still there. We just had to keep pushing through and never giving up on empowering Wyatt to learn and grow, exceeding that evaluation he had in 2010. Everything was on the upswing, but then we faced another cliff, as you often do. The owner of the business we worked with was diagnosed with cancer, and the business fell apart very quickly. And so did our income, which was not good, you can imagine. Those curves are always going to come and go, but it's what you do with those twists that either make you stronger or weaken your resolve. It was time to jump off another cliff, and this time we took a leap of faith in ourselves. And we jumped off that cliff, and we started More Than SEO in April. It was scary, and we were flat broke with 3 kids, and somehow we hustled and pushed through it. We've been grinding for a couple of years now. We were more profitable our first year than I ever dreamed we would be, and a lot of businesses just don't make it the first year. The second year was even better, and this year we're struggling through the challenges of scaling, which is a great problem to have. Today our son Wyatt is doing awesome. Despite his diagnosis, he's mainstreaming 2nd grade with an A. His social skills improved. He can have conversations now. His gut's healed. We know how to keep him safe and healthy. He tells us he loves us. He has empathy for people, despite what all those doctors predicted in the beginning. And he's quirky and amazing and super smart. Today we don't have tutors coming in and out of our house. We don't have therapies to run back and forth to. But I'll tell you that every one of those sacrifices was well worth it. He's doing phenomenal, and I can't wait wait to see him continue to grow and become even better at communicating his dreams and wants and needs. So the next time that you're feeling down, or as though the obstacles to starting or succeeding at your business or any personal mission you have are unattainable, know that if you work hard enough with good intent and honesty, that anything's possible. Never give up and never lose your hustle. There's still going to be moments of failure you have to work through. You'll have to be flexible and you'll have to listen. Get up and dust yourself off. Whatever you've got to do to deal with those challenges to grow. Above all else, remain humble and grateful.